Hi, New York City journalist here. I want to talk briefly about the breaking news of Jordan Peterson checking himself into rehab, because I'm sure the media is going to pick this apart. And frankly, I watched the Joe Rogan podcast where they discussed it, and the information was so dismal that I feel like we need to give a little context and a few grounding facts to understand what's going on. But first, Jordan Peterson checked himself into rehab for Klonopin dependency. Klonopin is the brand name of a drug called Clonazepam, which is a type of drug under the benzodiazepine family. And Klonopin isn't some street name for this drug, it's the brand name, much like Tylenol is the brand name for acetaminophen, or Advil is the brand name for ibuprofen. The medical term for what benzodiazepines do is they affect their agonists on the gamma aminobutyric acid part of the brain. And there are two GABA receptors in the brain. There's GABA A and GABA B, and benzodiazepines affect GABA A. They're sedatives, much like alcohol. Alcohol, for instance, affects the GABA B part of the brain, whereas benzodiazepines are like a straight shot into the GABA A. And GABA A receptors in particular, when they're being activated a lot, as in benzodiazepines, can have some side effects when you're trying to come off them. So I want to clear the air here too, that Jordan Peterson checking himself into rehab doesn't necessarily mean he's addicted to drugs. It means he has a dependency on Clonazepam. And the fact that he was prescribed Clonazepam strikes me as entirely reasonable given his lifestyle and his life circumstances. So the first thing to maybe wonder about is, like, does Jordan Peterson have a secret drug addiction? These headlines, pill popping Jordan Peterson found out. No, most likely not. I can foresee a scenario in which, given his lifestyle and career where he's on a world speaking tour, he's having interviews with the press all the time, combative interviews at that, and then he has a wife that has an aggressive form of cancer, I can entirely see him being on edge, him suffering from anxiety or panic attacks, him consulting his physician, and his physician prescribing, with entirely good intention and on-label usage, Clonazepam to help combat his anxiety or his panic attacks. So the fact that he's some sort of secret drug addict, highly unlikely. This seems like a proper use of the drug that unfortunately his body just became dependent on. So why then check himself into rehab? Shouldn't he just be able to stop it? Well, Clonazepam, under the family of benzodiazepines, other benzodiazepines, for instance, are Valium, Xanax. Benzodiazepines, while they're highly effective at stopping panic attacks, are also the most dangerous drug to try to stop quickly. They're one of the few drugs that will kill you if you withdraw from them too fast. For all our talk of the opioid crisis in the United States, benzodiazepines, if you stop them too fast and your body's gotten used to taking them, they can cause sudden seizures in people that wouldn't normally experience seizures. They can cause sudden death. You can have hallucinations. They're one of the worst drugs to try to come off of. So the best way, the most mature way to handle your body being dependent on Clonazepam, a serious type of benzodiazepine that can kill you if you try to withdraw from it too fast, is to really check yourself into a rehabilitation center where you can be under the watch of physicians 24/7 to make sure you don't die. But on top of that, it can also be really hard to just get yourself off it. The brain is a complex organism. So what does Jordan Peterson checking himself into rehab really mean? It means that, unfortunately, due to his lifestyle, he was prescribed a benzodiazepine, and through regular use of that drug that he was probably prescribed for legitimate reasons, his body became dependent for it. He has, as a mature, self-aware adult, realized, oh, I probably don't need it anymore, my wife's cancer has stopped, I'm going to try to get off it, and found he couldn't. His body couldn't get off it. So he's checked into a hospital as what a responsible, mature adult should do. This is the right course of action. With that being said, I wish Jordan Peterson a speedy recovery. I wish his family well. I hope it goes smoothly. I hope he's in and out of there within a few weeks. But before the media picks this apart and, is Jordan Peterson some sort of drug addict? Is he some pill-popping creature of the night? No. Jordan Peterson is taking an adult, mature response to a physical dependency on the drug called Clonazepam, also known as Klonopin, which is a benzodiazepine. It's a sedative that was prescribed for what I am entirely willing to believe were legitimate reasons to stop the anxiety in his life. Hopefully this gives some facts, some grounding rules before all the media picks it apart. If you found this interesting, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow. Yeah, speedy recovery, Jordan Peterson. Bye.